Got it. All right, we are streaming. Nice. All right, everybody, welcome to. Oh, damn it! There we go. All right, welcome everybody to Video Lab. We got myself and Trey Serrano and a bunch of amazing people on here. Look at this. We got some real people, some non-real people. Jose out of Fort Lauderdale. What's up, my man? We got to hang out in Nashville last week. Good to see you.
There.
Nice. Well, cool. So I wanted to go through today, we're talking about content into 2023 and making content that's actually going to put dollars in your pocket. Now, I see a lot of agents that are creating content right now, and we're all over the place on what we're doing with content. And so I wanted to try to niche this down and focus on what's going to actually drive business in 2023, regardless of market conditions. The greatest thing about having good video content is it doesn't matter what the conditions of the market are. People are going to call you. They're going to trust you. So I want to go through a few different examples of stuff that we should be making in 2023. And one thing I want to talk about YouTube, but if you pay attention to the BAM podcast, Broke Agent Media, a good friend of mine, Javier Vendania, was on there, and he gave me a very pleasant shout out on there, but they were talking about him. Javier has got this huge YouTube channel that doesn't actually drive business. Now, a lot of the stuff he talks about on there is like, what's it cost to buy a home? What's the cost to sell a home? Like, he's got very big, broad topic ideas. And he said, if you want leads in content, you got to do what Jeremy Knight's doing, which is the same thing Trey's doing on YouTube, which is the same thing quite a few people on here. He's not on here right now, but Rod Alawan just joined Real Broker. He's got some really great content. So if you're looking at content that's going to drive business, look at what Trey's doing, look at what Rod's doing, and become the quote unquote digital mayor of your town. Now, the problem I see with most realtors when we're making this content and trying to come up with content ideas, the one thing we all struggle with is we all want views, likes, comments, right, Trey?
Absolutely.
And so the metric for, it doesn't matter where you go, the metric that people always have is how many views does a video get? Or how well did it do? Did it go viral? And I think that's a big mistake that we make as realtors, is that we need something to go viral. Going viral does one thing. It puts us around a bunch of realtors that really are excited that we got views. But that doesn't necessarily, and it might drive a few referrals to you, but it doesn't really drive the business. So we're going to talk about those things as far as like what drives a business. Trey, on your channel, so we'll start with YouTube, and then we're going to work into Instagram and TikTok, because I think all three are different playgrounds, and all three should have really good content and those things. Trey, what is some of the content that you're making right now that's actually driving business from your YouTube channel?
So just to add to what you said before, I think in 2023, you guys, including all of us, need to have fresh eyes on what you're doing online. Because I see so many like, hey, I'm following realtors and subscribing to other realtors' YouTube channels. And, honestly, 2023, stop all that. Do not engage in other realtors. Do not engage with, and it's like, you're not helping your fellow realtor by engaging with them in their social medias or YouTube channels, because it's actually hurting the analytics. So by engaging with your local community, which is who you want to reach, who you want to engage with, that is going to put more local content onto your feeds and into your business. So then you have more to talk about. That's like the big 2022 slap in the face that I'm giving you as a gift, is stop engaging with realtors, start engaging with your local communities, and talk about what they're talking about, not what other realtors are talking about.
100%.
So the vanity metric should be in 2023 and moving forward is not how many views, not how many comments, but it's how many leads, and and how to get the leads is where the conversation starts. So like the conversation starts with what you have information in front of you that will then create engagement. After the engagement is the lead. So that is the metric that you need to measure. Get the likes out of your head, the comments, the amount of views, get all that out of your head, because it's okay, how much business are you actually doing? And where is it coming from? And then add to that.
100%. And I have to agree with you, because people always ask me, well, what's your most watched video? What's the video that got you the most amount of business? And to be honest, the videos that get me the most amount of business are the ones that are the least watched. Because what happens is and this is where we forget what we're doing on video. What we're doing on video should always be, number one, building trust with your audience. Take a step back. Number one, you always have to focus on what your avatar and who your avatar is. So for me in Austin, my avatar is somebody who loves to have fun, really motivated and energetic, that is looking to either buy or sell a home, wants to be either close to downtown or wants that big ranch out far from town. And then that seller who wants to be educated and wants to have fun. Because for me, I don't want to work with the people that have sticks up. I got to be here as a PC show. I don't want to work with people that are unfun. I want to work with fun people because that makes my job a lot easier. I'm sure, whoever your avatar is, that's who you got to go for. And so what the problem I see a lot of agents making right now is that we're putting all this video on Instagram, we're putting out these videos, and it's the people that are watching it, and to Trey's point, and liking it are other realtors. They're not the actual consumers. So let's focus on the content that drives business. Trey, on your YouTube channel right now, what are the videos that your audience who are not agents, what are they looking at and what are they watching the most?
All right. So I'm going to pull up my channel so you guys can see. And while I'm pulling it up, John, you got a question. Go ahead, brother.
So how do I undo that? It is frustrating lately when all I have on my Instagram is tons of realtors. And I want to see my followers that are going to give me business. And I'm not even trying to engage much with realtors, but it's all I'm getting. That's all the people who like my stuff. It's everybody. When I turn on Instagram, it's all I see is all the realtors. So how do I do that?
And that's fine, because agents have more time in the day to go look at stuff, right? We're not tied to a desk. So you're going to have a lot of realtors, and that's fine. I think there's a lot of agents that just make content directly for other agents' likes. So the point is to create more content that's going to drive business. So think about do a poll. Go to Facebook, make a poll. What would you want to hear about most in videos? On YouTube, I make polls all the time in my community tab about what people are looking at. Like, what do you think interest rates are going to do? And yeah, a lot of realtors will respond to that, but I'm trying to get to the consumer, what the consumer is wanting. So even on your Instagram, when you make those polls, do a poll inside an open house. Like, hey, what are the things that drive you craziest about buying a home? And yeah, just filter through what the realtor's saying, go find what the consumer's saying, and then make another video responding to, hey, so this person said this in my thing. It's really cool. This is a good idea. And then talk about what consumers are actually wanting. Does that help, John?
Yeah, it helps a lot. Thanks.
Okay. All right,
so
Trey.
I would say my video, this one that I put out for best places to Airbnb in San Antonio, 759 views. My other videos, 73,000 views. As the first week this was released, I got 4 people to reach out to me. And then the last week, which is the following week that it was released, I had 3 other people reach out to me, all solid leads. So that's 7 leads in 2 weeks from a views of 759.
You click on my channel when you're done with this. Sorry.
Yep. And then something like this, tons of engagement, tons of followers. So you should look at these videos that do really, really well is like, hey, this is now growing my audience, but that's more people that I need to put these kind of videos.
Right.
And so not like, oh, if I grow this, which is like information, Tesla, I don't want to be known as the Tesla guy, right? Because that's not who I want to target. I want to target people like this. So it is good to sprinkle it. You're growing the audience. And then of that audience will convert into viewers who really, really wanted to see this from the beginning. And then when they're ready to buy or sell, hopefully they will land on one of these videos and the conversion will be greater. Go ahead, Jeremy.
Yeah. So I was going to say about your channel here. So if you notice, no, stay on your channel for now. If you look at his channel, it's more about what's happening in San Antonio. So when people think about moving to San Antonio, who are they going to call? They're going to call Trey because Trey's got all of this information. Even the media is coming after Trey because he's talking honestly. So, and that's the biggest part about all of this is honesty, right? You're trying to build trust, and Trey's building trust with his with his audience. And if you look, he's got listings on here, but that's not all he's talking about. And so I think if you're making either YouTube or Instagram content, if you're doing just walkthrough videos and not informational videos, then you'll run into issues. Now, shorts is another thing. So a lot of people are talking about shorts right now. I would make sure your content on shorts is a mix between educational and information, educational and fun. Because the problem that you'll run into, especially on YouTube, is that if you put just straight information out with no fun behind it, you're going to get a bunch of thumbs downs and cranky. If you look at like my worst viewed, not worst viewed, but worst liked videos, they're all my shorts when I'm talking about just information and it's not giving any fun stuff. Like Trey, can you play one of your shorts here?
My fun one.
Yeah, do that one right there. Yeah.
Oh wait. Oh wait.
I'm not signing this.
Hold on.
Now these are still shorts that you're putting on Instagram, but if you look at his Instagram, it's not somebody. So before you push play, this is a video not with somebody pointing at a bunch of disappearing text, right? Because I see that so much. I think it's a mistake. The other thing I see agents keep doing that's a big mistake is they're making fun of either sellers or buyers. Oh, sellers overpricing or whatever. Like they make these funny videos aimed at sellers, but put yourself as a seller in that position. If somebody's saying, oh, you're asking too much in this market and you're almost making fun of them,
the internet,
I would never.
If you bought,
right. And
here is your deed of trust.
Sorry.
So think about it from a consumer standpoint. Does that build trust? What if you did something a little bit different where if you're talking about home, like, hey, sellers are running into the buzz off 2023. And if you look at the video I put out yesterday, actually, I talk about this as far as getting leads. The video I put out yesterday, which we'll talk about in a second, I've already had 3 sellers reach out to me from yesterday's video. That was Wednesday from yesterday's video, 3 sellers. I've set 3, and I had 1 listing appointment just right before this. So I think it's really important that you're not making fun of your client or the client base, but educating them in a fun way, right? But making fun of them is definitely out. Let's see your video.
Totally.
For your home at a 7% interest rate.
What the fizz is this? I'm not signing this. I'm dating this rate.
This is filed at the courthouse.
Yeah, you don't understand. I want to swipe left on this loan. I'm not interested in this one. No.
This is a commitment.
I know, you say commitment, but this realtor on TikTok told me I could date the rate, marry the house. This seems like I'm marrying the rate, and I am not okay with that.
Don't listen to this ninny hammer. When you're buying a house, focus on a monthly payment you can actually afford. Rates may go down, but don't expect they will. Get this guy a White Claw.
Do you guys have Trulies? Can I get a Truly?
So one thing I want to add is, like to what Jeremy said, is when you're going to be light and humorous, you should really either make fun of yourself, and it just creates an authenticity and a way for people to connect with you. If you're on your high horse and I sell everything, to me, that's just not creating enough relevancy for people to reach out to you. And also it should be light humor of market or conditions as opposed to sellers and buyers. Right. So just watch your analytics with what you put out there. The other thing I wanted to talk about is switching through platforms. As we do more video, we're like, okay, I got this great video on YouTube. Now I want to cut it up and do a YouTube short. I want to put it on my Instagram, I want to put it on Facebook, I want to put it on Instagram. So let's talk about that a little bit, because I know that's a big conversational piece.
Yeah.
So
I would definitely say I would hesitate to put all your direct Instagram stuff onto YouTube Shorts, just simply because YouTube is a different animal. So YouTube is still trying to find itself when it comes to YouTube Shorts. And when you think about a reel or TikTok or something like that, a lot of it is just that continue to keep swiping. Oh, I'm going to watch this video for like 13 more seconds, and then I swipe. You're going to run into the same thing on YouTube, but if you go too far on the joking thing, you're not going to really hit the same audience. If you go too far on the educational thing on YouTube, you're not hitting the same audience. So I would be very careful about taking the same exact content from Instagram or TikTok and putting it on YouTube. I would spend some time watching other content creators, not just realtors, on how they're reaching an audience on YouTube Shorts before you really dive in and just start hammering YouTube Shorts. But go ahead.
Yes. And here's kind of a playbook of what I would do in 2023 for content that you film. Okay. The process in which you film shouldn't be, hey, I need a video for Instagram, so let's think of something Instagram. To me, it's you have like 10 platforms you can post videos on, right? So your thought process should be, I'm going to record this video because I have a closing, and let's record the final walkthrough. Let's get them in the closing table and almost like a testimonial. When you get the video, then decide what to do and where to post it. So let's say that example of the final walkthrough and going to closing, signing, almost, they said you're the best. A video like that is, in just for me, it would work best on Facebook because I have a lot of past clients and people in the community on Facebook. It would also work well on my TikTok because I don't really market or follow or engage in any realtors. So it's mainly local community, and then my YouTube. But it would actually not perform well on my Instagram because I have a lot of realtor connections and engagement on TikTok. And my audience is a lot on Instagram. So that video wouldn't do well there. So understanding where your audience is for each platform will give you guidance on where to post the video you record. So let me give you an example. I posted this YouTube short, which is the Riverwalk. 152 views on
The Riverwalk's not really the place to visit, and locals don't really go there, and I'm gonna tell you why. The food is not good. It's commercialized, and there's not a lot of local flavors that go into the Riverwalk food.
So I just basically talk smack about the Riverwalk. Look what it did on TikTok. 243,000 views on TikTok and only had a couple hundred views.
And locals don't really go there, and I'm gonna tell you why. The food is not good.
Same video, right? Same video. And that was from a long form YouTube video. Then we cut it up into just 2 other shorts. And then when we have the content, okay, which platform will this fit in? It'll fit in because I'm talking to people looking to visit San Antonio on YouTube, and then YouTube short, and also TikTok. So I want you to analyze where your audience is and post accordingly to what you already recorded. I hope that makes sense.
Yeah. And I would definitely, cut things up differently and make them different timelines too, right? So I wouldn't make it like if you have a reel that's like 30 seconds, I wouldn't make that same reel 30 seconds on YouTube. Like I just put one out right now that's talking about the freeze. It was a minute on Instagram, and then I cut it up to make it even shorter on YouTube because I'm just trying to test the YouTube algorithm there. But let's talk about how you should post and what you should post, right? So I think this is really important. So as we're going into 2023, I think what are people most afraid of? What are people most wanting to know? And then how do you get business from that? I know those are 3 things that we have to pay attention to. So, for your strategy should be to come up with 4 buckets of content, whether that's on Instagram, YouTube, whatever else. So I had this conversation with Ian Williams the other day because he does all this great stuff, but he's just not consistent with putting out his content. And so we sat down. He goes, well, I'm going to go to this property and I'm going to film this stuff. I go, okay, how about this? You do a backflip video, right? You do this tile video, this file video, this tile. So if you go to one property, you can create 4 different pieces of content from that one property in 4 different reels or shorts or whatever that you're going to do. And then, so now you have Monday is always going to be backflip day. Tuesday is always going to be, pull the mug through a door day. Third day is always going to be, can you believe the price of this home? And then the 4th day is like, wow, why you should call me about this home. So there's 4 days of content. And the 5th day, there's a lot of real agents here. Maybe make the 5th about something about real, why you like real, something that happened at Real Broker. The problem I think that most agents are doing is we're trying to do too much stuff for agents. And then especially at Real, we put out way too much stuff about Real Broker. I'm guilty of this as well. And then everybody's like, oh my God, there's so much content about Real Broker. These people are annoying, right? So we don't want to do that either. So I would dial back on, and I'm telling this to everybody because of my own self, dial back on how much we're talking about Real and focus more about the clients and how to get that business from clients. So YouTube's the same thing. Come up with 4 pieces of content, but YouTube should not be anything for agents. It should all be about education for, top 5 new build communities, the biggest news, what's coming to your area, and then the market update, right? Stick to like 4 different topics. And then it makes it a lot easier to schedule out your content as well. Okay, the 3rd week of the month's coming up. It's always my walkthrough videos of 5 neighborhoods. Let me get some B-roll as I'm driving around for the 5 neighborhoods, and boom, now you got B-roll and something to talk about. What do you got, Trey?
Yeah, to add to that, it's when you're having a content opportunity in 2023, you really have to plan out the content and not just like, hey, I have I'm going to go to a builder model home and do a video there. Well, there's other things that you can do besides that. You can do the virtual, run through the house with speed ramps. You can talk about the neighborhood. You can talk about the builder themselves. You can talk about incentives. So there's content planning should really be incorporated into it, because you want to maximize your time there. So you can do a quick interview piece with the sales rep. Say, well, how long are you going to be building? We're going to build in 3 years. We're going to be building in 2 years. And it's just little bits of information. The elementary school's down the street. It's rated this, whatever. But it's just planning out when you're going out there.
So I'll give you an example of what we're doing to plan out this content. Okay. So yesterday I met with my videographer. We were done in 3 hours, and we got about 5 videos filmed in 3 hours. So what I'm doing as a strategy is that I'm changing my YouTube strategy slightly, and I'm actually creating a second locally based channel, and it's all locally based. And so here's what we're doing. So yesterday we met at a property, at a neighborhood. They had 3 different models we could film. So what I have my videographer do is go in. All he does is go through all 3, get all the B-roll for each 3. So that's like an hour and a half that it's going to take him to do that. So what I do in that time frame is you probably saw him on Instagram. I walk through the listings and I was like, hey, look how cool these listings are. Kind of like what Ray does, right? So Ray does a very good job of doing that walkthrough. So I did something very similar to that, but my own style, not the Ray style. I don't have that nice of a beard. So I shot three different things that I could do as put out as Instagram videos. When he's done shooting, then we did a walkthrough of each of those floor plans. So that took another hour. And then, so now we're about 2.5 hours. And then I filmed the whole thing about the neighborhood. That way, each one of those properties, this is the way we set it up. It's like, okay, today we're at Esperanza. It's a crazy neighborhood. Look at this cool home. We're going to walk through it. Halfway through the video, we're actually going to go through and talk to you about the neighborhood, why you'd want to be in this neighborhood in particular, right? And so then after we've already filmed the B-roll, after we've already filmed all 3 properties and me walking through, then I walk through the neighborhood talking about the neighborhood. And so what we did there is that's going to be like maybe a 1.5 minute, 2-minute clip of each one of those 3 videos. So now his workflow is a little bit easier. The other thing we did is I'm doing a full video about the neighborhood, the builders, the pricing, what you need to know, why you should call me to get more information, because these prices are going to change and they update me all the time. So give me a call. But all of that, calls to actions later in the video. It's not like, hey, Jeremy Knight, I have all the details. Call me, give me a call. I'm the best realtor. I give a ton of value about the homes and then say, hey, like these prices change and we've negotiated on some of these deals. So if you want to know how we're negotiating, give us a call, but let's keep talking about the home. So we created 5 videos out of that. Plus I got a bunch of reels. Plus once he gives me those videos back, now I can cut those down into more reels to put out. Now, was any of that aimed at realtors? The answer is no. It's all aimed at the consumer, right? So that's what I'm talking about. We got to make sure we're still making content for the consumer and keeping the consumer in mind and not just realtors.
Yep. You said it. And when you post these things, so let's say you take Jeremy's plan of the neighborhoods and how he's visiting a neighborhood, but he's going to do multiple things in the neighborhood, get it all recorded. Now he has about 10 videos he can post. With that is the next strategy is to look at your platforms and figure out, well, I think this was going to do really well because my audience on Instagram is more agent based. So I'm going to put this video here. Facebook is a lot of past clients. So I'm going to put a picture of the screenshot of the neighborhood and talk about it, a written post. And then TikTok, let's say it's local community stuff. post it there, but just know the audience, and the audience is going to tell you in the comments, and the
100%.
comments will tell you what they want to see, and ask,
How
say,
do you
hey,
get
what else
comments
do you
though,
want to
Trey?
see? Huh?
How do you get comments though? How do you create that engagement? Because we could all create a post or a video and then get no engagement. So what are some things you should do in the video to create engagement?
All right, that's great. So the substance and the content of the video. So what you say in the video does matter. I know on Jennifer's recap of Marketing Edge from Tom Ferry, they had like a list, like hook, and then the curiosity, and then the meat, and then the closing. But I'll go a step further, is be careful of what you say in the hook. So I feel like there's so many realtors out there that are saying, these are the 5 things that you really need to know about this neighborhood. Oh my God, you're not going to believe it. I feel like that is just too much. And now consumers are starting to see past that. They're not going to want to stick around because you gave too much fluff. So I think what'd be better is saying these 5 things are major. First one is 500 jobs just left downtown. Second one is this. Third one is this. Fourth one is this. This is now, this affordable housing building is now closed. Let me know how you think this is going to affect the downtown area. Is just get right into what the greatest thing or what important thing that you're going to talk about, but just shorten the hook even more than you did in 2022 and get into more of the meat, because the meat itself is the hook, not you saying what the hook is. Does that make sense?
Yeah. And the hook is very important, but I think as you're going through a video, it's really important to create engagement. You do, I would say, very humorous, more on the line of humorous videos, but there's a way to ask for feedback in the video as well. So let's say in that same scenario, the video we're just talking about. So I think this is what's going to happen to the downtown area. What do you think? Drop a comment and then keep going. Or do you feel the same way? Maybe you don't have to say the drop a comment part. Like, do you feel the same way? Do you think it's going to impact you? The more you're doing that, now you're creating that engagement. And I think that'll drive some of those non-realtors to write comments in your videos. YouTube is one of those animals where I constantly, like my walkthrough videos don't get as many comments because I'm not asking enough questions. So I'm having to be cognizant, and I'm walking through these videos, like play with play with the sink. I was thinking about one of those sinks you can pull out the thing. Anyway, geez. Yeah, don't play that. Cut that out of the replay. But like, hey, would you want a sink that has this thing? God, I should really stop. Or would you want a waterfall? Like, look how crazy this waterfall is on the island. Do you want a waterfall like this? So as you're like walking through the video, like, oh man, these cabinets are all the way to the ceiling, but does that actually, can you actually put stuff up there? People are going to write in the comments. And so that's how you're creating comments and creating engagement. And then in there, man, do you think this video is going so well right now? I don't know, drop a comment. Tell me how it's going, right? You make it funny in that way too. So you have to create your own style, obviously, right? And Trey's got a very good style, but think about what are the things in videos that make you comment and then do those in your videos, right? Yep. If you're watching other realtors' content and you're tempted to write a comment, what did they say and how did they engage you? If you're watching and the other thing is, don't just watch realtors, watch other people and kind of get a sense of how they're doing content as well. And then what are the things that they're doing that make you want to write a comment? Because that's the engagement you need.
Yep. When you're watching these videos, not just realtors, but instead of consuming the information, start consuming the structure of the video and ask yourself, just like Jeremy said, why am I still watching this? And then take that piece of information and use it on your content. The other thing is 2022, I feel like it was great to say, hey, drop a comment. Let me know what you think down below. I think in 2023, you just say, what do you think? Do you like these cabinets? What do you think the price of the home is?
Right.
And it's implied that they're going to have to write in the comments.
That's a good one too.
I should buy this house? Do you think my client should buy the house? Go ahead.
if you're doing short content, I would absolutely do like, man, what do you think this home is worth, and not give away the price of the home. If you're giving longer form content, maybe you have that in there, like, hey, halfway the video, I'm going to give you an actual price of the home. And that way you can then cut that, like, well, what do you think the price of this home is? And then you could cut that video down and use that as a reel or short without saying what the price is. And that way you're getting guesses even throughout the video. That's genius. First smart thing you said all day. I mean, good job.
I mean, it's true. It's like, I feel like it's watered down, just like everything else, eventually does. But the third person where I even watch, like, or I guess I hear my kids watching the YouTubers and play around and all the stuff. And never once do they say, like, drop a comment to what you think he should pick up, or drop a comment if you like the doll or whatever. But now it's like people are wired to be able to, only way to communicate to you is a DM or a comment. So I don't think you need to really ask for the engagement. You should just imply the engagement.
If you follow, what's her face? Who am I thinking of in LA? Taya DeCarlo. Taya DeCarlo did an impeccable video not too long ago where she's like, this house is so cool, it's got its own nickname. And then did maybe 3 shots of the house, like, it's coming soon. DM me if you want details. Like, I felt like that was great because as agents, we're probably all going to DM her, right? But she's probably going to get a lot of consumers or sellers DM her as well. So, those are all important. One thing I just thought of too is who is actually taking their content and making blogs out of it.
Ooh, that's a good one.
So what we've been doing is taking my videos, my YouTube videos. What we'll do is then we'll put them on a blog on the YouTube channel. I then take on my website, and then we take those and put it out. Hey, did you see our content this week? So it's a touch to our clients. So, and typically we're only doing like the market update ones that we're sending out to the clients. So it's not like every week we're sending a video out, but we're sending the market update video out through the blog. And then on top of that, we're taking the blogs over to Google My Business or Google Business Profiles and creating posts on there, and then taking a 30-second clip and putting the 30-second clip on, because you only do 30 seconds on Google My Business. So in that same clip, I can put on YouTube or wherever else I want as well. So you're taking all of this content you're doing, you're putting it multiple places. And even then my assistant's posting those same blogs. That's just my YouTube video on on LinkedIn. And like my DMs are crazy on LinkedIn. I don't even use LinkedIn, which is pretty crazy.
What's really interesting about 2023 is it's not so much as a push for more content, but it's a push to repurpose content, repurpose on so many different platforms, and to where you're directly giving your content to the consumer almost as a, hey, I recorded this for you, and presenting the information to them where it's valuable, where they can potentially share it. And that is essentially asking for business without asking for business. That's going to be huge in 2023, at least for me. But it's
Ray,
yeah.
I want to hear from Ray. Ray's on here. Ray, you do a lot of content creation. What are you thinking for as far as content that's going to drive you business, not agents to your downline, right? But I'm talking about just clients to your business.
One of the things that we were talking about years ago is having a library of content to drive people to. And I think we're refocused on recreating that library of content, going back through some of the old stuff that, we made at 720p and maybe making it 1080, doing a little bit nicer stuff. So we're doing that. And then what you said about the repurposing is going to be huge for us. Our repurpose strategy was a miss. We tried several different things and we just couldn't really lock it down. So I think now we have a process that we could trust for repurposing everything, not just the podcast, but also like community videos and even listing tours. Like you said, just taking little bits and clips of those listing tours and couching them under a different phrase. Like you could do a whole walkthrough of a new construction, and then you could take a piece of that, like maybe a couple of pans of the kitchen, and ask questions about that with with the green screen. You could green screen your own video. So there's just like when we think about repurposing, we started writing down all the ways that we could repurpose stuff. And we began to get overwhelmed by the plethora of uses for the content we've already created. And that is like a super huge relief. So I think both recreating some old stuff and making it better, and then repurposing that in way more ways. I think that's what we're really going to be focused on in 2023.
Yeah, you know, it's interesting that the repurposing and the green screen. So what we did yesterday is I had my videographer literally just set the camera like on one spot where like I stood to make sure it looked good. And then he just recorded for a minute straight, just that position. So we could actually use that if I ever had to come back and reshoot something for that. It's just me standing in there like I was standing there. And, you know, if you do the lighting right on a green screen, you can make it look like you were literally in that same spot. So I like that, you know, definitely. I'm probably going to have to go back to more green screens because I hate my background now and I'm not smart enough to like make a cool background. So Trey is definitely beating me in the background game right now. Melissa,
aren't you in Texas?
Marissa.
Just put a bunch of wood back there and slather it with barbecue. That'll look great.
Oh my God, I would eat my wall. Marissa, what's up?
So I put the question in the chat, but I just wanted to be clear. Where, if anywhere, do you post your YouTube links to drive people to your YouTube? Not agents, right? Because what I keep hearing is don't put it on a Facebook group with all the agents because it messes up your algorithm. Where do you guys recommend doing that to drive more clients and potential clients?
Can I take this one?
Yeah.
Okay. So every single platform is in business for itself, right? So when you create content, you're in a partnership with that platform. So YouTube, you go out and, you know, highlight your local, you know, coffee shop. So you take that content and you put it on YouTube. YouTube says, hey, Marissa, thanks for your partnership. And I'm going to put this video out to who I think is the audience that's going to engage. And the reason they engage and watch it is so they stay on YouTube so I can feed them ads. That's a partnership you have with YouTube. So if you share your YouTube short on any other platform, all platforms have the same MO. They want people to sit there on their platform so then they can be fed ads. So I wouldn't necessarily share it on any other platforms. I would just share it on that platform and let it find your audience. And if it's not finding your audience, I think it's your videos that just need to be tweaked so then it can figure out like, oh, okay, Marissa lives in this town. She's the local go-to for these things that are happening. So anybody that's searching in that town, I'm going to put Marissa's stuff in there.
So
okay.
I would say one other tip that would help as well is like, so, you know, you can make playlists on YouTube. So, right. So if you have just all of your walkthrough tours, right, are one playlist, like, hey, it's like, that's how I have all my market updates are one playlist, all my, you know, walkthrough videos are one playlist, all my new construction, all one playlist. So here's what you do. You take that long video and you cut it into a 30-second reel or short, more of a reel, and you put it out there. And then you say, hey, if you want to see more of this content, find my YouTube channel. That is one way. Now people are actually searching for it because then now realtors aren't going to watch. Because let's be honest, like as a realtor, I'm going to only watch 30 seconds of your video. It's boring to me because I'm not your audience. And it's not because you're putting out bad content, which you could, but I'm not your audience. And this is why it's really important to know who your audience is and who the content's for. But if you did like a 30-second clip of that and you put it out there with a link to either your channel or a playlist, or just said, hey, find me on YouTube for more content, what happens is if I click on your channel versus that video, now I can search around on your channel and I go, you know what? There's nothing on here for me. Or I can click on a few videos and then bounce out, which was probably what people will do. Or if somebody really wants that playlist and you put that playlist, they might start watching the full videos of all your other videos because now they're on the playlist. So those are some things you can do, but I would really caution you to try to grow YouTube organically. How do you grow YouTube organically? You look at, and so Scott Fishman, who's not on here, DM'd me right before this, and he's like, my CTR is like 5%, which is your click-through rate. So click-through, when your thumbnail comes up, you know, the amount of people that click on that, the rate will be higher if more people are clicking on it, and it'll be lower if less people. So my CTR, I've been doing this for 3 months, but my CTR is low. And here was my response to him. Your CTR is important because YouTube is trying, and why it's low is YouTube's trying to figure out where to put your content, right? They're putting it in front of a lot of people. So there's some people that just don't click on it because they're not interested in it. So it's still trying to do its thing. And that's where what Trey's saying is, if you're messing up the algorithm where you're trying to have people come straight to that video and then they don't watch it, then it hurts that video as well. But what the point I'm getting at is, I told him, go look at the analytics and see what the watch time of that video is. If that video is less than 50 seconds, start looking to see where people started dropping off, and know about 30 seconds in, I got to change what I'm talking about or change my tone. A minute in, I got to change my tone again and change the way the content is. Halfway through the video, I got to throw something at people to keep them engaged so they watch the next half of the video. That is how you're going to get more organic audience, is because now they're watching your videos longer. On YouTube, it'll tell you, hey, the reason why this video is doing better is people are watching this video for longer than other videos. So that's how you're getting more like engagement on your videos. So doing the engagement, getting people involved in the video, changing up what you're talking about, not just be the same. Here we are walking through this house, continue walking. Now this is a bathroom, things like that.
And it, to what Jeremy said, instead of sharing your links, share the video on different platforms, not the link.
So do you guys share your YouTube like on your website and email newsletters, or no, you don't do that at all? You just let YouTube do its thing?
So I'll wait a week and put a blog out. And so the video would be embedded into the blog.
Right. Me too. I shoot it out to my database, and sometimes I even add what the comments are. So people are like, oh, so not only this having the video, but the comments are talking about this. Because I mean, everybody loves the comment section. Oh,
that's good. I'm going to text my assistant right now. That was, I didn't even think about that.
Yep.
Thank you.
Yeah, exactly what Patricia said in the chat. Upload everything separate to each platform. I totally agree. And Jeremy, did you say something?
So I muted myself so I could text my assistant. Okay. She makes the blogs for me.
Oh,
see,
man.
even I'm learning something.
Yeah, man. What else you guys have questions on? The other thing is 2023. There's, I've always done videos at like coffee shops and pizzerias, taco places, whatever, but then I don't know what to do with it, because in past years I would post it, it would do okay. People like, oh, it was cool to see that, but then it was gone. But now with Google Maps, Google My Business, with blog posts and emails, now you can constantly repurpose that stuff, and it makes you the digital go-to person for your areas.
Yeah, and I would load that same content. I would load that same content on your Google My Business or Google Business profiles. I mean, that's what I'm doing with a lot of the stuff we're shooting. I'm taking it down to 30-second stuff. Or when I'm at, like Ian talked about this on stage at Tom Ferry, which we should probably bring Ian on and have him talk about this and more, was he's doing was it Google Tag? What is it called, Ray?
Geotag.
So he's like geotagging photos and geotagging locations, and he'll even go in front of a builder and be like, he'll geotag like, hey, this builder has a bunch of inventory, they're really cool homes, and then he'll make like a short clip that goes out on the geotags. So when people are looking at geotags or they're searching for that business, then his video shows up on there as well. So that's something to think about. I would reach out to Ian if you want more information on how he's doing that, because he's got a pretty good plan for that. But I would definitely work on putting some of this content on your Google My Business or Google Business profiles. I think it's really, really important. The reviews are very, very important on there, but if you have more content on there as well, it's going to keep people looking at your profile. So they're building trust in more places. Who else has got good, like who else is like doing like content that's really working for them? This is a mastermind anyway. Austin, you're doing a lot of content. Are you seeing business in return from it?
I haven't seen a lot of business yet, although I think it's affecting and helping my sphere think of me more often. I got a phone call last night from a buyer who had liked some of my recent videos and then called me to say, hey, I'm moving back to town. So I'm not getting real quantifiable new leads, but I think I am affecting the people who are already aware of me.
Yep.
Jose,
I'd love to be able to tap into people who don't know me.
Right. Jose, so you put out some interesting stuff. What are you doing that's getting you business right now? You're muted, by the way. There you go.
Unmuted. Hi guys. So I just started with the whole video thing, and I actually learned a lot of information from the Tom Ferry event in Nashville and watching you, and even the video I put out on my Instagram during the event got me a lot of interest. I haven't gotten any, sorry, my phone's going crazy, any referrals yet or any leads from them. But like Austin said, it is bringing more eyes onto my page, especially my Instagram page, which I have been like slacking on lately. I've been just focusing on Facebook, which now I've been trying to think about focusing more on Instagram and having Instagram transfer everything into my Facebook business page and grow from there.
Nice. Okay. Adam, you do a lot of content. I want to hear from you, man.
I was just going to call on Adam.
I'm going to start picking on people.
Yeah.
So
Adam, while he figures out that we're calling on him and goes to unmute, Adam is putting out insanely good local information in the Houston Bay Area. And Adam, what have you seen from it?
Sorry, I missed your question.
So basically we're asking people, what are some of the pieces of content that are actually driving business, actual quantifiable business? What do you have that you've done that's driving business that you'll probably use in 2023?
I have tried to really use the model of kind of I think last year or years past, they've talked about be your town's mayor. I've tried to take it. I think I might've actually heard this from Trey. I heard it somewhere else that you actually need to be your town's newscaster. So I've tried to find hyperlocal stuff that I think is cool, that I think other people think is cool, that are either coming to the area or happened in the area. And it's not always hyperlocal, but that's where I try to focus on.
So yeah, Adam puts out like insane amount of hyperlocal stuff. And Adam, you said that you had a text or something come in. It's like, man, I basically don't even watch the news anymore because I just watch what you say on your TikToks, right? Was that kind of feedback from clients?
That seems to happen when they call it social fatigue, when you start feeling like, man, is this even worth it? And it seems like every time that I'm like, man, I just don't know if I can keep this up. Like I'll get a text like, man, I really enjoyed this or like that. But what you're referring to, somebody said, actually told me like, I don't even watch the news anymore because I enjoy your content. And who wants to watch the news? Because it's all people getting shot and killed and all that stuff. So you've got to obviously try to edutain when you're given hyperlocal news and stuff so that people will want to come back and feel good about the stuff that you're putting out.
If you guys want to have a template of being a local mayor, and I would check out Adam Watchdog Realtor on TikTok. It's really good. And even me, like obviously I'm no plans on moving to Houston, but a lot of the stuff is will affect other communities. So it's good information, man.
So this is what I'm talking about, like on YouTube shorts. So as we were sitting on this, I put out this video. Here's a video. It's just me showing you how to turn off the water to your home during the Texas freeze. This video is already crushing. Now, I don't know if I'm going to get business out of this, but this is just going back to YouTube shorts. So this video is already crushing. And this is the basic title: Texas is going to freeze, pro tip. And it's just a tip on how to shut off your water, which is a super easy tip, 30 seconds. So that's not going to drive business, but it's going to drive trust. 'Cause it sounds like hopefully it sounds like I know what I'm doing.
Right. So if that video gets 1 million views, of those million, you know, you have the few people
Make 38 cents.
that the few people that are going to get so much value out of it and have watched other things relating to real estate. And they're going to say, you know what, Jeremy, he's putting out this information, not to solicit business, but to just help me. And I think that's where the increased conversion, and that's where the bread and butter is for your lead conversions. So Vance Oliver says,
yeah, I was going to read that. Go ahead.
Yeah. What is your advice for a team member involvement in content creating? We have a team, we want to incorporate them in the video content, but I don't want to do this and hurt the growth of the channels and pages. One concern is people may, like me, Tiffany, my business partner, has a different team member more than another host. So if there are fed a video with different person, maybe not be interested. All right. So
this is something that Ken and I talk about, because Katie has people, like, she's been having her team on her videos. Ken at one time had his team on his videos, and then he stopped. Trey, you don't have your agents on your YouTube videos. It's just you, right? Right. And I'm the same way. I don't have my agents. Now, the tough part for me is that my wife works with most of our clients. So in that aspect, when we're doing videos, it may be good to have her on for a very short amount of time, because she's a lot drier than I am. And she's not as good on camera. So if you start bringing on people that aren't good on camera consistently, then you're going to run into issues. I've done a very good job with the handoff. And so that's where you're going to have to, if you don't have them on your channel, which I kind of recommend you don't, you're just going to have to get very good about the handoff. And so that's where, you're building trust. And I'm sure Trey is getting this too. I'll have people that call in. We have like 5 phone numbers, all phone on one spot. And usually my wife answers the phone, because she's kind of the ISA in that part. And she basically goes, "Hi, it's Eileen with the Night Group. How are you?" "Oh yeah, Jeremy's in a meeting, but I like to take all his calls. What can I help you with?" And she's straight into scripts every time. And she's very good about handling, "Oh yeah, we'd love you. Yeah, Jeremy usually has me do this, so let's do this." And after that point, people you've already built the trust in these videos. So they just need to make sure that they're feeling the trust when the phone picks up. That's it.
You can also have them in your Instagram stories or TikTok stories. You can have picture posts on Facebook. But if it's like actual, genuine, local information, you should be the delivery person of that information and not somebody in your team. And if the team member says, "Hey, I want to be in your videos. I want to do this." And it's like, I've built this audience for many, many years. I still want to deliver the information, but you can be in the story. We can collaborate on some posts, but essentially, like, the main things should be just you, because you just don't want to confuse the audience that you built, because it's like, well, I follow you, I don't follow this other person.
One thing you could do too, I think, instead of having somebody on, is have them, we do a lot of hyperlocal content, Trey, and we talk about, situations in real estate quite a bit. Maybe have them jump on camera and tell a very quick story about something that just happened to the client and how they handled it. So as you're talking about, yeah, okay, we just had this happen. My team member, they'll tell you about it real quick, and then they'll have them on that way, or talk about what the team member went through and how you resolved it, instead of having them on. So you're still the digital mayor of your content. It's a very, very challenging thing when you start diluting your content with different people, to Trey's point. So
it just makes it confusing.
Yeah, and it's confusing the consumer. I mean, look at Mr. Beast, right? Mr. Beast has tons of people on his thing, but he's still the primary thing. All the money's coming out of Mr. Beast's pocket. It's not coming out of other people's pockets. So unless you're Mr. Beast, then I would just keep yourself as the primary.
Or you can have them in your B-roll. If you're going through a house and you're talking about the house, you can have them in the B-roll in the background. I think that's cool, because when you do the handoff, like, "Oh yeah, this person was actually in the video you watched recently, and here they are. They're going to take care of you."
Anybody else got any? We got like 5 minutes left before we get kicked out of here. Eric, what do you got? I see you sitting there, Eric, your beautiful red shirt.
Man, I ain't got a whole lot to add right now. I'm just listening.
Okay. All right.
I have posted a few YouTube videos. And honestly, that's probably where most of my focus is going to be this next year, because even the few videos that I have has made the phone ring. So that's pretty much where I'm at.
So if you look at the content and the views right now, other than Trey's channel, a lot of realtors channels on YouTube are starting to see a lot less views. A lot of people are saying things. So I actually enjoy that, because what that means, a lot of realtors are just going to stop putting out content. I'm doubling down on content, because this is what made me a ton of money. It was this simple thing right here. COVID hit and all I did was create content while everybody else wasn't. And so I had content for days coming out when people started searching for homes again, I was the person they called because nobody else was putting out content. So right now people are going to stop putting out content, or maybe they're going to dilute the waters and maybe just focus on short stuff, because that's all they're hearing from everybody, from Fairy ecosystem, BAM, everybody's shorts. I don't think shorts, and even Mr. B said shorts are not going to drive the business or drive dollars. They're an added benefit, but what drives people to your channel, what drives time on YouTube is the longer form content. So that's just my take on it.
Yep. 2023 bullet points. Figure out your audience. Once you figure out the person you want to work with, make videos for them. Once you figure out that person, then start actually recording the videos. Once you record the videos and edit the videos, then figure out the platforms that fit. Where are your audience? Where is your audience? And put the video to them on that certain platform. You will make the platform happy because they said, oh, this is exactly who we thought that Jeremy's videos are going to go to. Once you do that, build, repurpose, and have these have this content to be pushed to email. I think that's going to be huge. Also, last thing is the engagement asking. Yeah, the engagement asking is not necessarily leave a comment or this. Just ask the question, and don't say like leave a comment or anything else. That's just what I think is going to be faster, and it's implied. Jeremy, what do you got in closing?
I'd say consistency. You know, if you're running into those weeks where you don't have enough time to film, repurpose something else. You know, maybe pull up a video that you did a year ago and go, oh, how has it changed from a year ago? Right. And just and basically make comments the whole time on your video. It's super simple to do, right? Pause. Here's what I said. This made a lot of sense back then. It doesn't make sense now because the market's different here. Play, right? Repurpose old content. But the most important thing is to be uber consistent. That's it. You want to increase your business? Consistency. You want to increase the views of your channel? Consistency. You want to increase the calls to your phone? Consistency. That is the one thing that's going to drive you business in 2023 is consistency.
Love you guys. Let me know if you need anything.